This is the Carvera Air, a beginner-friendly desktop CNC machine from Makera. As more and more 3D printer designs move over to custom metal parts, I knew I wanted to learn more about CNC machining. After all, the ability to make custom metal parts on demand at home would unlock a whole new world of possibilities for me and all my crazy ideas. The Carvera Air should let me do just that. Now, I don't want to waste anybody's time here. It's time to get this machine out of the box and ready to run. For complete transparency, Makera did send me this machine free of charge, but they have no say on the content of the video that I make. This video does have a sponsor, PCB Way, but we'll talk more about them later. Unboxing the machine went well. The kit that Makera sent includes the base machine, as well as the optional laser and 4th axis add-ons, which I'll be sure to test out as well. They also sent me a whole host of different bits. I will say that one of the things I really appreciate is that they include materials for their 4 example projects, which aim to teach you about all the different things the CNC can do. The plan is to finish all 4 of the example projects and also do a couple projects of my own. After looking over the various example projects, I decided to start off with the 3-axis relief. It looks pretty simple, all things considered. First, we need to secure everything on the bed. We'll start with the MDF spoil board and then add the anchor point on the side. Everything we do with the CNC will be relative to one of 2 anchor points, either on the edge or in the middle. This makes aligning the workpiece super simple. From there, we can add the material, in this case we're using an epoxy tooling board, and clamp it down onto the bed. For dust collection, I'm using a shop vac hooked up to the Carvera Air with a 3D printed adapter that I made. Nothing fancy at all, but it gets the job done. Now we can open up the Carvera Control software on my laptop and start the job. The software will tell us whenever we need to swap tools. First up, we need to swap to the probe. It starts by tracing out the perimeter of the cut with a laser, just so we can make sure that nothing's going to collide once we start it. Then it homes onto the stock. From there, we can switch to our first bit, the 25mm single flute end mill. The 25mm end mill helps us remove large amounts of material relatively quickly. Once that first pass is done, we need to swap to the V-bit to carve out all of the fine details. Finally, once everything else is done, we need to swap back to the end mill to cut out the finished relief. We just need to cut these tabs here ourselves, and then we're all done. In total, including the extra time spent filming, this project took around 2.5 hours to complete. We'll get back to it tomorrow. Alright, I just got home from work, and the plan for this evening is actually to finish 2 of the example projects. We're going to start with the laser module, which very cleverly attaches to the tool head, just like any of the other bits. The diode that comes with the laser kit is 5 watts, which definitely makes it suitable for engraving, but it's not really powerful enough for cutting. Then again, you don't really need to cut since, this is a CNC machine. The example project for the laser is very simple. We just lay down a sheet of MDF on the workpiece, secure it in place, and start. For my other lasers, I've never bothered to actually clamp down whatever I was engraving, but I'm just following Makera's instructions here. Since we are still using the probe to home onto the material, this is, in essence, an autofocus setup. We could even do a mesh on a sloped or otherwise uneven surface and engrave on it that way as well, which is pretty cool. There were 2 sizes of engravings to choose from, a smaller one and a larger one. I opted to save some time and go with the small one. For me, as someone who owns other laser engravers, the biggest draw to using the laser on the Carvera is the aforementioned auto leveling feature. Although the laser could come in super handy if you were CNCing and engraving on the same part. Maybe I'll buy some of that laser marking spray and try it out on aluminum parts later down the line. In total, it took just about 25 minutes to complete this project, so we should have enough time to finish the next one tonight as well. Before we get into that, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, PCB Way. They're known for their high-quality PCB manufacturing and assembly, but they also offer 3D printing, CNC machining, laser cutting, and even injection molding. Whether you're building your next prototype or a fully finished product, whether you need just one part or hundreds, PCB Way has everything you need in one place with fast turnaround times and great prices to match. Check out the link below and see what you can make with PCB Way. And as always, thanks to them for supporting the channel. Alright, next up we're going to need to install the fourth axis. It mounts directly onto the bed with 4 dowel pins and is secured in place with M5 screws. The cables plug into the leftmost port on the back, and we can replace one of these screws with a longer one to hold the included cable guide as well. That way we can be sure that the cable for the fourth axis won't get snagged anywhere. This project calls for a small block of epoxy, and Makera recommends drilling a small hole in the center to make alignment easier. We can secure the epoxy in the chuck, and then slide the tailstock over to hold it in place. For this project, we can't use the dust collection, so we're going to have a bit of a mess to clean up at the end. Just like with the 3-axis relief, we're starting with the 25mm end mill for the roughing pass. Unlike that time though, we actually have 2 separate files that we need to run for this project. I'm going to take a second to give everything a bit of a vacuum, and then we can move on to the second pass. We can swap to the V-bit and then carve all of those fine details. I gotta say, I was really impressed with the level of detail here. To my eye, it almost looked like a resin print, and the whole surface is super smooth. The project guide does say to saw off the top and bottom, but I'm gonna keep them on just to show how this was made. I think it's super cool. In total, the fourth axis relief took close to 3 hours to complete. Tomorrow, I'm gonna finish the last example project, and then we can move on to some projects of our own. Today, we're going to be tackling the most complicated of all the example projects. Well, maybe not the most complicated, but certainly the most involved. The LED light requires 4 main parts: the PCB, the touch switch, the base, and finally, the piece of acrylic for the light itself. Makera sells a PCB fabrication pack with everything you need to make your own PCB, but they also include a fully assembled PCB as well, which is what I'm going to be using. That leaves 3 parts left. Let's get started with the acrylic. This will be my first time using the auto leveling option with the probe. Without it, if the acrylic isn't flat, it could be cutting deeper in some areas compared to others. Everything would still work fine, but the lines would appear thicker in those areas, and the resulting part might not look as good. Now, it's very hard to see what the CNC is doing with this clear acrylic, especially coupled with the reflections from the enclosure. In the end though, everything completed just fine. Next up, we're going to cut the base out of ABS. Again, we're going to be using the auto leveling feature here, but there's really not much else to say about this one. We need to cut the base out from the rest of the stock once the job is all done, and I did a less than ideal job of this. To salvage the base, I had to sand everything down, and from there I painted it all gray so that it wouldn't look terrible with the sanded surface finish. Going forward, I don't see myself CNCing any more plastic parts. That's kind of the whole reason I have all the printers. Last but not least, we need to make the touch switch. And finally, we can use some aluminum on this machine. For aluminum, rather than using the shop vac, we're going to connect the Carvera to an air compressor. The air will help blow chips out of the way, and should help us get a cleaner looking result. My setup here is a little bit jank, running a hose across the entire garage and using some zip ties to hold everything down, but still, it does work. Partway through the cut, the zip ties came loose and all of the airflow stopped. You can see just how quickly chips started to build up. Just like the base, there are some tabs that hold the part onto the rest of the workpiece, and just like the base, I did a less than ideal job of cutting those off. With some sanding, I managed to get everything looking okay in the end though. Now we just glue in the touch switch, screw in the PCB, and press the acrylic into the top. LED sign complete. Alright, it's finally time to get started on some of my own projects. The first order of business for me is learning the basics of Makera CAM, the dedicated CAM software for the Carvera and Carvera Air. Rather than jumping right into a real project, I want to start with a smaller test. I hopped into Fusion 360 and quickly designed whatever this thing is. It's a small hexagon with a pocket in the middle, 2 holes that go all the way through, and also a chamfer around the edge. I made the piece small so that it would be quick to machine, and also so I can reuse the aluminum stock from the LED light. To cut something like this, there are basically 3 operations needed. We're starting with the pocket, which is the hole in the middle that doesn't go all the way through. Then after that, we're doing a contour, which will actually cut out the part from the rest of the stock, in addition to doing those 2 holes in the middle. Finally, we'll finish off by adding the chamfer around the edge with a chamfering bit. I really didn't want to deal with tabs like on the LED light project, so I opted to try something different for work holding. I'm dubbing this the teaching tech method since I first saw it on his video on the Carvera Air. Basically, we're going to add a layer of masking tape down on the spoil board and also on the base of our stock. Then we're going to super glue them together and clamp it down like normal. The super glue should keep everything stuck down nicely, and then we can just free the parts at the end by removing the tape. I'm super pleased with how this test turned out, and I think it's time to start on some real parts. I want to make some custom Z motor mounts for my Trident, not because I really need to, but a goal of mine is to minimize the amount of plastic parts in the chamber. I designed some motor mounts based on the Trident inverted electronics mounts. The stock mounts are 8mm thick with a 3mm counterbore for the screw holes. My custom mounts are going to be made from 5mm thick stock, so we don't need any counterbores. Alright, this is going to be pretty simple. Just a contour to cut the part out, and then a pass with the chamfering bit at the end. Let's get to it! Now, from my perspective, everything seemed to be going fine. However, I actually made one critical error with this part. See if you can spot it. Yeah, so rather than actually cutting all the way through the stock, we still have just a tiny bit of aluminum left at the bottom. This is annoying, but it's an easy fix to make sure this doesn't happen again. Inside the Makera CAM software, we just need to increase the end depth offset. Let's try this again, but we'll cut both the left and right mounts out of one piece of stock instead. Now that's more like it. These are going to work perfectly for the Trident. Now let's do the rear one next. And there you have it, folks. That's my first project done. It might not seem like it's been that long, but it's actually taken me basically all day to get this result. Although, to be fair, I did spend most of the morning researching the software rather than actually machining. Now I want to try making an X-beam for my Rook out of a piece of square aluminum tube. Now, before anybody gets a chance to comment anything, yes, this is 100% the kind of thing I could do myself with a drill and some printed jigs, but it's more fun to use the CNC. I've split this project into 2 operations, and each one will be done twice. The tube is held in place at anchor point 1, and we're just using whatever clamps we have available to hold it down. We're going to start by drilling out the holes for the linear rail itself on one side. Once that's done, we'll flip the tube 180 degrees and rerun that file. That way, we'll have linear rail holes going all the way through the tube. Next up, we're going to do the same thing, but with M5 holes on the other side of the tube. A tube like this with through bolts should basically be the most rigid X-beam possible, and I think it'll be a great fit for the Rook. I gave it a quick test, just using whatever M3 screws and hardware I had laying around. The real version will be a little bit more sophisticated with some printed inserts inside the tube, but at least we know that everything lines up. I'm definitely going to need to surface the tube for the real one. I did buy a sheet of carbon fiber with the intent of cutting out a bed for Cappy on it, but the more research I do on machining carbon fiber, the less I want to actually try it. Currently, it seems like the drawbacks, the increased wear on the bits, the terrible carbon fiber dust, they just aren't worth it. So I might try carbon fiber later on down the line, but right now I don't think it's worth the risks. Alright, well thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about this machine, feel free to ask down below. I think this machine is going to be super valuable for me, and I suspect you're going to see a lot more metal parts down the line. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.